Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome dear students. I am Mustafa, subject specialist in English at Divisional Public School and Inter College Sahiwal.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome dear students. Today we are going to learn change of voice in the present continuous tense. It is connected with your previous learning. You have already learned the change of voice in the present indefinite tense, past indefinite tense and future indefinite tense. Now you are going to learn change of voice in the present continuous tense. Our learning objectives are: by the end of working on the given concept, you will be able to refresh your previous learning of change of voice, relate the new learning of change of voice with the previous one, derive the method of change of voice in the present continuous tense, and change the voice in present continuous tense of affirmative, negative, interrogative and double interrogative sentences. Now change the voice of the given sentence. I am going to the playground. Number 2, we are watching a documentary. Number 3, my father gave me a beautiful wristwatch on my birthday. From our previous learning, we know that we change the voice of the sentence which has at least one object. Is there any receiver of the action in these sentences? In sentence number 1, there is no receiver of the action. There is only an adverb of place. In sentence number 1, I am going to the playground. There is no receiver of the action. Sentence number 2 has one object. A documentary is the receiver of the action watching. We are watching a documentary. In sentence number 3, there are two objects. Me is the receiver of the action and a beautiful wristwatch is the receiver of the action gave. So we can conclude we can change the voice of the verb having an object or objects, and this type of verb is called transitive verb. Now change of voice in the present continuous tense. Observe the given sentences. I am learning the change of voice. Painting is being learned by me. Can you identify the active and passive voice sentences? I give you a hint. A subject actively does an action shows active voice, while a subject receives an action shows passive voice. So it is quite clear that sentence number 1 has an active voice. Sentence number 2 is passive because in it the subject painting is receiving an action. Now we are working on the change of voice in the present continuous tense. Derive its method. Now we are working on change of voice in the present continuous tense. Its method. Consider the given sentences and observe how change of voice occurs. Sentence is: we are preparing the test. Its passive is: the test is being prepared by us. Sentence number 2, she is collecting the stamps. Its passive is: the stamps are being collected by her. Sentence number 3, I am activating my email account. Its passive is: my email account is being activated by me. Can you derive the method of change of voice in the given tense? Dear students, derive the method of change of voice. Look at the sentence very carefully. We are preparing the test. It is active voice of the present continuous tense. Its passive is: the test is being prepared by us. The test is being prepared by us. Look at the changes. What has occurred to the test? We and are preparing. Look at sentence number 2. She is collecting the stamps. Its passive is the stamps are being collected by her. Now observe the change. What has occurred to the stamps? What has occurred to she, and what is the change for is collecting? Next sentence. I am activating my email account. Its passive is my email account is being activated by me. Look at the change. My email account has taken place of the subject. Am activating is changed into is being activated, and I is changed into by me. Can you derive the method of change of voice? Most of you have observed correctly the method of change of voice in the affirmative sentences. At first place, the object of the active voice takes place of the subject in the passive voice. The most important change is with regard to verb. In passive, is or am or are plus being plus past participle of the main verb. And the third point is the subject of the active voice takes place of the object in the passive voice using the preposition by. Now for your ease, the method of change of voice in the present continuous tense is tabulated. If we see active voice, the sentence is she is collecting the stamps. Its passive is the stamps are being collected by her. At first place, subject she is changed and it takes place of the object in passive voice. Its change is by her. With regard to verb, is collecting is changed into is being collected. It means in its method is being plus past participle, and with regard to the stamps, which is the object in the active voice, now is in the place of the subject, the stamps. Active voice is she is collecting the stamps. Its passive is the stamps are being collected by her. We are going to learn the change of voice in the present continuous with regard to negative sentences. Now you will derive the method of change of voice in the negative sentences. Example is the government is not starting new projects. Its passive is new projects are not being started by the government. Let me say not starting. Is not starting is changed into are not being started. Look at the most important change in the verb. In active voice, it is not starting. Its passive is are not being started. So we have made the right conclusion that we use not right after the helping verb for making negative sentences in passive voice. Now there is a self-assessment. You will make passive of the following sentences and match with your own solution. Sentence number 1. The rain is refreshing life. Make its passive. The rain is refreshing life. Now match your answer with the given solution. Life is being refreshed by the rain. If there are mistakes, correct them and clarify yourself. Sentence number 2. These boys are not throwing stones in the lake. These boys are not throwing stones in the lake. Dear students, make it passive with your own effort. These boys are not throwing stones in the lake. Now match your answer with the solution. Stones are not being thrown in the lake by these boys. If your solution is correct, then well and good. If there are mistakes, correct them and clarify yourself. Number 3. The air is spreading the sweet smell of roses. Change the voice of the sentence number 3. The air is spreading the sweet smell of roses. Its solution is: the sweet smell of roses is being spread by the air. The sweet smell of roses is being spread by the air. Have you matched your solutions with the given solution on the screen? Clarify yourself about the changes while changing the voice of the given sentences. Now we go to the interrogative sentences. Change of voice in the present continuous tense, the method with regard to interrogative sentences. Look at the given examples and draw the method of change of voice in the interrogative sentences. Are you helping the newcomer? Its passive is the newcomer being helped by you? While in example number 2, active voice is, am I reading an interesting novel? Its passive is an interesting novel being read by me? Have you observed the changes in passive voice with regard to interrogative sentences? Most of you have made the right conclusion. We place the helping verb in the beginning to make the passive of an interrogative sentence. Now derive the method of change of voice in the given sentences. These are double interrogative sentences. Why are you teasing me? Its solution is, why am I being teased by you? Why am I being teased by you? Sentence number 2, how are you doing this? Its passive is, how is this being done by you? How is this being done by you? Observe the change. Number 3, who is opening the door? Who is opening the door? Its solution is, by whom is the door being opened? By whom is the door being opened? Dear students, observe the change of voice in the double interrogative sentences. What is your conclusion? We place the helping verb after the question word with the same method of making interrogative passive. Very important note: after the question word we must use the helping verb, like why is the reading being conducted before writing? Similarly, in the second sentence, after the question word we are using the helping verb. Where are the vaccines being kept by the scientist? Where are the vaccines being kept by the scientists? The special one with regard to change of voice in the double interrogative sentence. Who is opening the door? Its passive is, by whom is the door being opened? Let us see what change has occurred to who. Who is changed into by whom. The remaining is the same as for the interrogative passive. Who is opening the door? By whom is the door being opened? Now your self-assessment with regard to double interrogative sentences for change of voice. Question is, make passive of the following sentences match your answers with the given solution. Sentence number 1 is, why are you spending money on video games? Why is money being spent on video games by you? Have you matched your answer with the given solution? If there are mistakes, please rectify them and clarify yourself. Sentence number 2. Who is showing better performance? Its solution is, by whom is better performance being shown? By whom is better performance being shown? Now match your answer with the given solution and make changes. By whom is better performance being shown? Match your answer with the given solution and make corrections if necessary. Sentence number 3 is, when is the Prime Minister addressing the nation? Make passive of the sentence, when is the Prime Minister addressing the nation? Its solution is, when is the nation being addressed by the Prime Minister? When is the nation being addressed by the Prime Minister? Okay. Have you matched your answers with the given solution? If there are mistakes, rectify them and clarify yourself. Dear students, now we are recapitulating the change of voice in the present continuous tense for affirmative sentences. With regard to verb, we use is or am or are being past participle. For negative sentences, we use is or am or are not being past participle form of the main verb. For interrogative sentences, we use is, am or are at the beginning of the sentence. Then we use being past participle. And for interrogative sentences with the question word, we use question word at first, like why or where or when or how. After it, we use the appropriate helping verb is, am or are. Then we use being past participle. And to change the voice of the interrogative sentences using who, we start with the passive by whom, is or am or are being past participle. Now it is time for an interesting game. How many different subjects and objects can you suggest for a single transitive verb? For example, for the transitive verb help, we have made use of 4 different subjects and 4 different objects. We can make a lot of sentences using different subjects and different objects for the verb help. For example, my friend is helping the poor. I am helping an old man in the office. She is helping her mother in cooking. You are helping the poor. And in this way, you can make a lot of active voice sentences with the different subjects and objects for a single transitive verb. Similarly, you can make the passive of the above mentioned sentences. It is time for homework. Number 1. Make 3 sentences of single transitive verb organized with different subjects and objects and then change their voice in the present continuous tense. And homework point number 2, make active voice sentences of 5 transitive verbs and change their voice in the present continuous tense. Keep in mind, in next lecture you will be given more work on the change of voice in the same tense to consolidate your learning. Dear students, at the end I would advise you to be safe, to keep SOPs in mind, be safe, enjoy the learning. Best of luck. Allah Hafiz.